in Armstrong, in the Okanagan, and we're gonna unbox some flowers and talk about how I'm processing them. So let's do this. So I'm gonna start off with the stuff that I need. So I need some pruners. You always need to use pruners because scissors aren't sharp enough for cutting flowers and they kind of crush the stems a little bit. So I've got some pruners here. They're quite dirty. I don't know what my mother's been doing with these. So we're gonna clean them with some alcohol. And I just got a napkin over here. Let's grab my napkin. All right. Okay, let's clean this up. Get some alcohol on it. Okay. So the reason you want to keep your pruners nice and clean is we don't want anything. You can come in, Dad. I'm just live, but nobody's here, so oh my thing. You want to come say hi to nobody? You haven't turned it on? Okay, I'm just cleaning my pruners there. Mom, you're live. There's nobody there though, but they will be there one day. So the pruners, these have been clean for a while. So we're gonna get these clean because we don't want to have any dirty possibility of getting dirt introduced into our flowers stem. So we're just gonna get these all nice and clean. Do you have a question, Dad? We're live on the internet.
They look good.
Yep, we're live on the internet. Nobody's joined us yet. We're just waiting for some people to join so we can get this party rolling. So I'm just getting my pruners nice and clean before we get too far. Okay, other stuff we'll get ready. I got scissors because I'm gonna need to cut the plastic off of these. And then I've got Quick Dip. This is a hydrating solution. So I need a container for it. Oh, that's a good point. Put a lid back on.
Mommy.
Yes, love? You can come say. What do you have?
Bug.
You found bugs? Yeah, found bugs. So I've got a container here for my Quick Dip. And I am going to take my Quick Dip hydrating solution. Oh, there's 2 people. Yay, 2 people have joined us. Mom, you want to come say hi to the 2 random strangers on the internet?
Good to have you here. Enjoy the production.
Okay, we're using Quick Dip hydrating solution. So this is just putting a little dash into our container, just about like that much. Oh, we got 4 people. Dad, 4 people have joined us. Live, random people, strangers on the internet. Want to come say hi to 4 strangers?
Hello.
You have to come into the...
Hello, Forest.
Say hi, 4 strangers.
I
Oh, you already did say hi to the 4 strangers. Oh, there's 12 strangers now. All right, hello, 12 strangers. This party is getting bumping. All right, we got some Quick Dip here.
We only have 2 rangers.
2 strangers. No, there's 12 strangers now. Somebody asked, what are we doing? So,
There's 1 and 2.
yeah, there's 2 strangers. We are processing flowers. So I've got a bunch of flowers here that I'm going to process for event I'm doing. Oh, somebody from Finland. How cool. So Quick Dip is a hydrating solution. 16 people are here now. Oh, that's so exciting. So this hydrates our flowers and it will help them last longer. And so I'm going to process them first before I get to arranging them. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys live about today. I should move this table down a bit because I'm like cricked over. There we go. That's better. So with Quick Dip, I'm just putting a little bit in here, like kind of this much, like, and then that is what I'm going to dip my flowers into before I put them into my bucket. Hello, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Sarah? Hello. And then I've got these buckets here. So these buckets are, I don't know how to tell you how tall they are because some of you probably use metric and imperial, so you can see it kind of comes up this high on my arm. Actually, you know what it'll say here? 10 liters. So I don't want a bucket that's too tall because then the flowers like get kind of stuck in them. And if too short, when you put the flowers in, they'll be too top heavy and they'll tip the bucket. So this one is a nice size. Oh, Austin's helping me with the other bucket. Thank you. So I've got 2 buckets here because we want to make sure that our flowers are not too crowded. And we got our pruners here that I cleaned with this alcohol so that we are good to start up. Yep. This is just some bunny tails. These are dried, so I don't put those in water. These are just a dried product. Hello, Angela and Amanda. Okay, so let's talk about how to process them. So this is a bunch of baby's breath. It's from Ecuador. And so the flowers always come wrapped in plastic, so that's why I've got my scissors here. And I always have scissors and pruners, because scissors are great for cutting plastic, but the pruners, we really need to get the ends cut. So baby's breath is always like really condensed like this when you get it. So we're going to need to use this makes a bit of a mess. I'm gonna have to clean this up after. We use our scissors and just cut off the elastic here, and then our pruners is what we need to do to cut the ends. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stems. Is that right? 2, 4, 6, 8 stems. And it looks super congested like this because this is what baby's breath always is like. I'm not gonna do this in like just out here. I'm gonna kind of put it over top of the box because it will make a bit of a mess. And I just kind of gently tease apart the blooms. And then I'm gonna take my pruners. I'm gonna move this bucket here. Oh. And I'm gonna cut the ends at an angle because when they are in transit, the ends kind of seal up. I need to look at what the correct terminology is for that. Like the term seal up is obviously not very scientific to what is happening here. But when you give them a fresh cut, that allows the water to go uptake properly again. And then I've got my quick dip. I just have it in this container here. And so as the name implies, I'm just gonna do a quick dip. So because I've got them all together, I gotta kind of line them up. So maybe I'll just cut them so they're all even. That's probably a better idea here. And I'm using pruners, not scissors here, because I wanna make sure I'm getting a really nice clean cut here. So then I take this and I do a quick dip, hold them down for a couple seconds. Oh, I didn't do it deep enough, so some of them aren't going in. Okay, so a couple seconds in there, a quick dip. And now we're sticking it in this bucket of water that I've got here on the side. So I've got a couple bunches of baby's breath and I'm gonna do that too, but I use this quick dip, which is a hydration concentrate. So I just use a tiny bit of it. And then I'm dipping the ends of the flowers in that just to get them hydrated because they've been traveling now for a couple days. Actually, these ones, I'm using them for an event and they accidentally got rerouted to a random city before coming to me. And so they were supposed to arrive here on Wednesday and they did not arrive. They arrived today. So they are, 3 days, what's today, Friday? They're supposed to be here Wednesday, and now it's Friday, so they are like significantly delayed because they randomly went to this random city and then they had to reroute them, blah, blah, blah. But now they're here. That's great. And so I want to make sure they're really hydrated because they went on a bit of a journey. But they still, like, by the time I get them hydrated and I put them in the quick dip and let them be in water for a couple days, these will like get super perky and nice. I'm putting this in the quick dip solution just for a quick little dip and then put it in my bucket of water. And this baby's breath always is kind of tangly, so you just have to be gentle with it, but it's inevitable that some pieces will rip like this. Oh, Adam, do you want to say hi to random people on the internet? There's only one random person, but you can come say hi. This is Adam.
Hello, random people of the internet.
What are you going to do?
Install something for your dad.
He's going to install some pumps. That's what he's doing. So pieces always inevitably break on baby's breath. So I wouldn't throw this away. Like I would take off this one that's like broken here and maybe we could use that in a boutonniere. But this piece here, which is quite a bit bigger, I would keep it and get like a little tiny vase or vase, depending how you pronounce it. And then just put that in and we could use that for like another purpose because flowers are expensive. So we never want to like waste. So I would keep this piece here, but there's always, baby's breath always does that. So when I'm just going to get them all in water right now, but then I'll do like a once over on them and kind of pull off any of these broken pieces and kind of untangle them because baby's breath gets super, super tangly. like this piece here, like it kind of bent. So that's okay. I'll use that later, but I'm just gonna make sure that they're all fully in water here. Okay, so that's 2 bunches in a bucket now. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this. This is Tweedia. So again, when it's comes packaged, it's all very flat. So I'm gonna need to cut the ends with pruners and then get that in the quick dip and in the water so it can get hydrating. So Tweedia is like much shorter obviously than this baby's breath. So if I put this in the bucket, I don't know if you can see, no you can't. So if I put it in the bucket, it would be like kind of smushed in this bucket. So I need to make sure that I have some shorter buckets as well, so that these shorter flowers have a home and they're not like all smushed against the side of a bucket, because that is not good for them. And I also want to make sure that there is no leaves that'll be in the water, because that makes the water really murky and gross. And then if the flowers are drinking murky, gross water, they're likely to die way earlier. And so that's why I want to make sure that I have them in really clean, fresh water. Oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, they accidentally got caught up. Okay. So I'm just giving these a nice clean cut here to make sure that they can uptake water really well. These are not my usual pruners, and they're not ideal. Okay, got them cut. So I got my quick dip here. Oh my gosh, this one doesn't want to cut. Okay, I got my quick dip here, and I'm going to, before I quick dip them, I'm just gonna remove all these. See, they have tons of leaves. So I'm gonna remove these leaves that would end up in the water, and they're super ugly leaves anyways. So just gonna pull them off, because leaves in the water make the water murky. So just removing the leaves, and then I'm gonna give them a quick dip in what's called quick dip, which is just a floral hydrating solution. And you just do it like this, like 1, 2, up. And then I need to get a different bucket for these, because if I were to put them in this bucket here, you can see that the flowers are like hidden in the water, or sorry, by the bucket. And that is not great, because then the flowers are like all smushed, and that is not good. So I'm gonna leave the rest of processing these for a bit and move on to what else I have in my bundle of things. I've got some wax flower here. So wax flower comes from California or sometimes Australia, and it has beautiful, beautiful foliage, and then it's got these pretty little delicate flowers. This is like a white variety. It always looks different, like kind of each bundle you get, but this one has a lot of greenery, not as many flowers. Oh, I got a twist. I can just untwist it here. And I love using wax flower in boutonnieres just because it has such a pretty foliage to it. And then the flowers are really delicate, and they form like a really nice accent piece against like your main flower. So again, when you're putting it in your buckets, I'm removing like all these leaves. Just smoked my head. All these leaves that would fall below the water line. Wax flower has a really woody stem, so that's why you definitely, like, you need pruners for everything, but for wax flower, like, scissors just won't even cut through it. And then I'm just gonna give it a quick dip in my quick dip, and into the bucket it goes. What else did I order here? Oh, I'm gonna do an experiment. Okay, I got this. It's Design Master. I'll show you over here. 1 second. Oh, I'm not organized enough to do this live. So somebody asked me, this is Design Master. It's like specifically for spray painting flowers. And then this here is just Beauty Tone that I got from the hardware store today. And I'm gonna spray paint this baby's breath blue. And somebody asked me like, oh, can you just use like Beauty Tone from, or any type of paint, like from the hardware store, compared to this like specific flower spray? And I said I'd never tried doing an experiment. So I bought these 2 blues. This one is a delphinium blue, and this one is, I don't know, French blue. And so I'm experimenting to see if I spray paint actually wax flower, which is this guy here. If I spray paint it blue, if it could be a dupe for Tweedia. This is Tweedia. This is wax flower. I mean, I know they obviously don't look the same, but if I spray painted this, could it be close enough to be Tweedia? So I'm gonna do that today, later on. I'm not organized enough to do it live, but that's what I'm gonna try. Design, this is called Design Master, Definium Blue versus Beauty Tone. This is, the guy at the hardware store told me that this is a oil-based paint. I don't know what this one is. I'm gonna have to Google this to find out what type of base this is. It doesn't say in here easily. It does say it's extreme dangerous, obviously. But anyways, I'm gonna make a video on how these two work in spray painting wax flower. Okay, moving on. Here is white carnations. These are from Colombia. Got my scissors here. Carnations always have a super long stem, so we definitely need those to be in like a taller bucket. So that's why when you're like prepping for flowers, you need to have a variety of sizes and shapes of buckets. And carnations are always kind of packed like kind of these 2 layers, and they always are closed bud like this. So I'm going to show you how to open them up, and they always have all these leaves here. So when you get them, you're going to need to remove all these leaves because we don't want those in the water, because that makes the water murky. So I'm going to pull all those off, but I'm also going to give them a cut on the ends with my pruners, not my scissors, my pruners. So these flowers were supposed to be here on Wednesday. They got rerouted by the courier company accidentally to this random city, and so they are here on Friday instead. And they actually, like, it's like, oh, that's a couple days, what's that gonna be like? These are still just as great. Carnations are super, super hardy. Can you guys see me cutting? Oh yeah, you can. Not that that's that exciting, but carnations are super hardy, so that's why I love using them in wedding arches. Because if you're making your wedding arch, say out of chicken wire, you don't have a water source, and so carnations are super, super hardy, and so that doesn't fuss them being without water. You know what, I have my baby sleeping, and I'm gonna make sure I have my monitor turned on to make sure he's still sleeping. Okay. That's the thing, you never know when I'm gonna be done this because of babies. So showing you how to open these. Okay, so carnations are always closed like this when you get them from me because they're so fresh. They haven't even opened up. So you can just like squeeze the base here, give it a little squeeze, and then you can just like push in the middle and just push them gently open, and that opens them up. If just giving them like this squeeze isn't enough, you could always just like pull down here a little bit and just sort of loosen the sepal. I don't know how to pronounce it. Just so that way you can push the flowers down, and like, look at that hack. They're like instantly open now. Here's another hack you could do. If you pull out the middle of carnations, it gives them a totally different look, and they look kind of like Lysianthus. I don't have any Lysianthus here to show you, but if you just pull out the middle of these carnations, it gives them a totally different look, because some people are like, oh, I don't love carnations, they're kind of like grandmothery flowers. But then look, I pulled out the middle of them. Look at that. That is gorgeous. That looks totally like a Lysianthus. Beautiful. All ruffly. Folks that are watching, do you think does that look like a carnation still to you? Or would you totally be duped into thinking it's like something much more like bougie and elevated because I ripped out the middle? Ripping out the middle will not affect its lifespan. And I'm doing this like for the idea that I'm having these at a wedding. Like, I'm not taking these and leaving them in a bouquet in my house for a week. I'm just doing this like for a event. So look, there you go. Super bougie, like Lysianthus looking. Yeah, that is a nice hack. It's kind of cool. And then carnations always have these ugly, they're not even really petals because they're so flimsy. I can't remember if I quick dipped this yet, but I'm gonna do a quick dip. So I'll put it in there for 2 seconds and then stick it in my bucket of water. There are new folks here who haven't seen what quick dip is. This is quick dip. It's a hydrating solution. It's not essential, but I like using it to just make sure my flowers are really hydrated. Particularly since I don't know if you guys have all been here since I said these got rerouted to a random city. And so they were supposed to be here on Wednesday. Now it's Friday, but because my flowers are so fresh and beautiful, being like 2 days later didn't even phase them. So see, look, carnations, super ugly petals on them, or leaves, sorry. So I'm just gonna rip these off, and we never want leaves to be in the water anyways. So this is what I kind of do when I'm processing, like right away. I'm removing the leaves, giving them a cut with my pruners. If I have quick dip, I'm giving them quick dip. My event isn't for a couple days. Well, Saturday, tomorrow. So I'm not gonna force these carnations open. Also, I don't really feel like doing that while a whole bunch of random strangers watch me. So I'm not gonna force them open right now, but you could totally, like if you're like ready to arrange for your wedding or event, then you could totally just force them open like right away. But I'm just gonna see what happens when they open up naturally. And I'm just sticking them in a bucket I've got next to me that is 10.5 liters. You want to have a bucket that's like the right size for your flowers. So these, turn this a little bit. So the flowers are just like peeking out of it. If you put them like, for example, this is my container of quick dip. If you put them like that, like look, they're just like, sorry, that was probably jarring. They like flop way over. So that's why you want to make sure you have the right container for the right job. And I always make sure to have a couple different containers. So that way I have like taller buckets for my taller flowers and shorter buckets for my shorter flowers. Okay, I get distracted all the time. That's like a thing about me. And I lose things all the time. I don't even know where my scissors are. Ugh. There, I put them in the bucket. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to, it was like I should stay on task, which is very hard for me, but I'm gonna stay on task and I'm going to finish processing my baby's breath because I was thinking baby's breath, my baby's gonna wake up from his nap and I won't have my baby's breath done. So this is a bunch of baby's breath, always super congested. I'm doing this over a box because it makes a mess. Kind of gently tease it apart and then cut the ends with your pruners. Baby's breath is sold by volume, and so sometimes you get like more stems, sometimes you get less stems, and then if the like blooms are really big, you get less stems. And these like just arrived, so the blooms are not fully open yet. Just gonna give a quick dip. So the blooms aren't fully open yet, but now that I've got them like quick dipped and in my, take these carnations out, in the water, give them a couple hours and they'll start to open up. So that's why I say like when you're doing your wedding flower arranging, you want to get the flowers on like day one, whatever day one means to you. So say your wedding's on a Saturday, that would be a Wednesday, I would suggest. So that's the first day you get your flowers. And then you do what I'm doing right now. You process them all, you're cutting the ends with your pruners, not scissors. I feel like a broken record, don't use scissors. Just do that as like a reel. If you listen to one thing I say, use pruners, not scissors. There you go, I'll make that into a reel. See, I get distracted again. I don't know what I was saying. Anyways, just cutting baby's breath over here, hoping that my real baby doesn't wake up and draw me away from this. If anybody who's listening remembers what I was saying before and feels like it was pertinent, tell me, then I'll tell you what I said. I've got a couple different varieties of baby's breath here too, but you probably can't even tell because they all kind of look like a cloud. Oh. I had this nicely going and then my 3-year-old messed it up. Ecuadorian baby's breath. So tariffs, let's chat tariffs. So there's no tariffs in Canada. Canada. There's no tariffs on flowers. And these baby's breath here come from Ecuador, but I don't really keep up in the news like a ton. But I did read that there were supposed to be like giant tariffs from Trump, like if you're American, and like including Ecuador, obviously, like everywhere had tariffs, including Ecuador. So that would mean that like if you're buying flowers in the States, like from whatever local florist, like their baby's breath now is going to be 25% more expensive, or 50 or whatever percentage Trump was going to put on Ecuador and Colombia. And then like there's not that much margin in flowers for the flower, like the florist to just eat that cost. So that cost would have to be like put onto you guys as a consumer. And then also like these flowers take however long. So this one, where's this baby's breath from? This is called bridal variety chip. This one is from, you know what, it doesn't say where this one's from. So then it have to be like passed on to the consumer, all these extra costs for like the flowers if they're coming from Ecuador or wherever. And obviously we try to source locals wherever possible, but like this baby's breath just isn't grown at a large enough volume in the States or Canada to like meet demand. And because it's a living thing, it has to be like planted and grown and watered and fertilized and whatever. So it's not as though you can just like, oh shoot, there's tariffs on Colombia, like quickly, we're just gonna buy our baby's breath from California or wherever, because it takes so long to like get that production going again. And I don't know much about like the growing side of things. For those who just joined, I'm dipping my baby's breath in. Quick dip for just a quick second. Oops, I hit the light. Just, it's a hydrating solution. So there's like not enough time to just do that like quick pivot. So unfortunately, it would just be like that the costs get passed on to the consumer. But Trump did not put those tariffs in place. He did it pause. So sigh of relief. I'm sure all the florists are like so relieved, because that would really suck for like all the weddings they have planned this summer, because obviously you don't order your flower, or you don't like have the flowers in your shop now. You have the flowers like in your shop like just before the wedding, so you don't have a choice. Like if you need wax flower, for example, for the wedding, like there's nothing you can do. But that's what we kind of tell our customers, like as florists, like we can't guarantee you a specific flower. This is wax flower. Isn't that pretty? It's got like like a black burgundy reddy center, and like the prettiest little flowers. So yeah, so we tell our customers like flowers are a living thing, so we can't guarantee that they're going to be available. Like we're going to try our best, but like we don't know what the farm's status will be. Like what if the farm like flowers don't grow so good? Oh, look, here you can see wax flower. This is a great example of wax flower, how it's like a woody, like it's a stem. And so then these are like the offshoots. So if I was putting this in a wedding bouquet, I would just cut this side piece off, because I don't necessarily want this really thick stem. And then all these, the pretty greenery on the side, I could use that in like a boutonniere or something. But because it's woody, it is so hard to cut. So if you only had scissors, you like can't even cut through it. Like it just literally won't work. So you definitely need to have pruners, and you need pruners just generally, like if you are wanting to arrange flowers, even if you're just like a hobby person, and you're arranging flowers, like you just get them from the grocery store and you just do like a little arranging for fun, you definitely need to have pruners, just to make sure your ends are like cut really nicely, because if you smush the stems, they can't uptake water properly, and so then like your flowers won't last as long. So that's the trick of things you need. I also have been using Quick Dip, which is a hydrating solution. So it's not like an essential thing that you need to have at all, but it's just nice because I'm doing like a wedding event for this, and it's going to be hot. So I want my flowers to be like as hydrated as they can, because like when a bride is having a bouquet that they're holding all day long, I want to make sure that they stay hydrated, the flowers stay hydrated, which is a different thing than if you just have them in a like in a vase in your house. They obviously have water to uptake all day. This is a bundle of wax flower, just to show you guys for like scale. I've cut the ends now and I've just have them all lined up, and I'm gonna do, I dip into my quick dip here. Oh, I awkwardly did that there. Quick bit, and then I'll stick these into my bucket of water. I don't remember what I was gonna say. Don't crowd your flowers in buckets. That is definitely a no-no. Okay, I'm back to processing my carnations. I'm not gonna dip them in between because I don't really have another, I didn't grab enough buckets. So right now I'm just removing the leaves off them. I already cut the ends with my pruner, so now I'm just removing all the leaves. So kind of my process when I get flowers in is I gather all my supplies firsthand, because it's kind of annoying to be like, oh, where's my buckets? Where's my this, that? So I get buckets. I have a couple different sizes and shapes. Like I have some 10.5 liter buckets here. And then I would get some skinnier, like maybe mason jars or like vases to have some of my shorter flowers in. And then I always get a little container for flowers that break. So like baby's breath is really bad for breakage. So this tiny little piece here, I'm not gonna throw away because it'd be perfect to put in a little miniature vase for the wedding. I can just make like a cute little mini vase and put it like somewhere random. And so I don't throw away anything. So I get like that little miniature vase. I need scissors to cut all this plastic. I need pruners. If you're using Quick Dip, you need Quick Dip. You need a spot to put all this in. I'm just throwing this like back into the box that it comes with. So this is why you always order extra. Like this flower head, for some reason, like it just fell off. So always make sure you order extra. So say 5% extra, and look, this one is broken a bit, which is totally fine because carnations are really tall anyways, so that doesn't fuss me too much. But you're always gonna make sure that you order an extra like 5%. Harry, favorite flower is gerbera. They stay beautiful for a long time. They totally do. Gerberas are great, and they have like so many different types. There's like pomponi gerberas and mini gerberas. And they come in a million different colors. I like obsessed with the pomponis. I really like miniature things. I don't know why I like miniature things. Maybe that's why I'm like, don't throw away any broken flowers. You could make a miniature bouquet, because I just think like miniature things are so cute. But yeah, gerberas come in like a million different colors. They last a super long time. They're great. So I've got all my carnations now cut. I've taken all the leaves off the stem. Now I'm gonna do a quick dip in my Quick Dip hydrating solution. And you can use this Quick Dip like for, I'm using the same like container for all of mine that I'm processing today. But then you need to throw it away. Like you can't use it multiple times. Like it's kind of a one time here. I'm gonna kind of deal with this. So this baby's breath stem, like it got like janky here, and these ones got janky here. So because they're like janky, it's a very official florist term, they're not gonna get water up properly, because it's like taking your like kitchen hose and like squishing it, right? Your kitchen hose, your garden hose. So here's where I would have like a mason jar to store them in. So I cut them like above the part here, and now that one fell too. So I'm gonna cut them like above where they're broken, and then because these poor little guys have been janked a bit, I'm gonna put them in the Quick Dip to just rehydrate, help them hydrate, and then I'm gonna put them in like their own little container. So this is why it's super important to have a bunch of containers, because if I put this in the 2.5 or the 10.5 liter, like they would get totally lost. So I need to have like a small container for those. And then this one has now like no flower on it. So I'm just gonna cut those off. This one kind of broke off. I'm just gonna cut that off. So this is what I'm doing when I'm processing. like before a wedding, as I'm just kind of dealing with all this sort of stuff. So I'd say like it depends how many people you have helping, but you probably need to budget like an hour and a half if you're doing like a full wedding. I'm just doing like a little thing here. So it's been 35 minutes, but I'm talking to you random strangers on the internet. So it wouldn't take this long if I was just like focusing, but I actually don't ever focus on one thing at a time, so it would take me longer regardless. Look, this little one broke too, so I'm gonna cut that one off and put this in my little jar and save it like for a boutonniere or what have you. Keeping all these ones here that kind of broke and just quick dipping them a little bit. And this one broke. So yeah, you're just kind of cleaning them all up, because that way when you go to arrange, you're like ready to go. You can like be efficient because all your like broken pieces are cleaned up, all your leaves are removed, everything is like, can't remember if I quick dipped this. Everything is like ready to go, and so you can be a lot more efficient. Okay, I've got here, I'm gonna turn this. So I've got my baby's breath now in the bucket. It's a 10.5 liter bucket. Well, it's I need to go through still, and I'm gonna do this outside because baby's breath makes such a mess, and just kind of like tease it apart because it's all like really congested. And then after I do that, some stuff's gonna probably break. So I want to do that outside just so I can like get a better idea of what I have. I have 6 bunches here in the bucket. So there, look, there's one that broke. So I'm gonna like put all my really short guys together. And I don't know if you guys were here, you heard that these flowers got accidentally rerouted. And so they were supposed to be here Wednesday and they're here actually Friday, and they still, like, baby's breath is so hardy, as is carnations, that like even though they're delayed, they still are totally fine. Like it doesn't have a problem with them. I'm going to, for those who have just heard, I'm gonna use I've got 2 sprays. I've got like this Design Master that's specifically meant for flowers, and then this is just from the hardware store, and I'm gonna experiment to see what it does, spray painting baby's breath. So it's actually good I have these broken pieces because I can experiment with those. But there you go, I've got all my stuff unwrapped, and now I think I'm just going to go and do that experiment I was talking to you guys about, spray painting that baby's breath and the wax flower. So there you go. Thanks for hanging out with me while I processed flowers. Talk to you guys later. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to teach you about, and then I can make a video about it. So thanks for watching.